Once upon a time, in the vast African savanna, where the golden grasses whispered secrets, and the mighty baobabs stood as silent witnesses, there lived a tortoise named Kofi. Unlike the other animals who admired speed and strength, Kofi knew that wisdom was the greatest power of all. But not everyone in the savanna believed this, especially not the feared and cunning leopard, Adisa. Please, if you have not subscribed to the channel, kindly do so to motivate us to keep bringing you more stories. Thank you. Now let's go. One hot afternoon, Adisa, hungry and restless, came across Kofi basking in the shade of a baobab tree. The leopard, with his piercing eyes and sharp teeth, approached Kofi with a cunning plan in mind. "Old tortoise," Adisa began, his voice smooth like honey, "you are wise and respected. But tell me, why do you waste your days moving so slowly? You could never catch a meal as I do." Kofi looked up at Adisa, a slight smile on his wrinkled face. "My dear friend," Kofi replied gently, "speed is not everything. Sometimes wisdom and patience are more valuable than quickness and strength." Adisa laughed loudly, shaking the leaves above them. "Wisdom, you say? Patience? Those things do not fill an empty belly, old tortoise. Let me show you how a true hunter catches his prey. Join me in a hunt, and I will teach you the ways of the swift and powerful." Kofi, knowing the leopard's nature, agreed to join him. "Very well, Adisa, but I must warn you, greed can lead to downfall. We shall see who catches the greater prize by the end of the day." They set off into the savanna, the leopard moving quickly, his muscles rippling under his golden fur, while Kofi moved at his slow and steady pace. As they ventured deeper into the wild, Adisa spotted a herd of gazelles grazing peacefully in the distance. "Watch and learn, old tortoise," Adisa said with a sly grin. He crouched low, his eyes locked on the nearest gazelle. With a powerful leap, he pounced, but the gazelle was quick and darted away, leaving Adisa empty-pawed. Kofi observed quietly, not saying a word. He continued walking at his own pace, scanning the surroundings with his wise eyes. After some time, he came upon a tall tree with ripe, juicy fruits hanging low from its branches. Kofi slowly climbed up the tree, using his strong limbs to reach the fruit. He carefully picked the ripest one and enjoyed it, savoring the sweet taste. Adisa, frustrated by his failed hunt, watched Kofi from a distance, growing more and more impatient. Why waste time with fruit when there are bigger prizes to be caught? Adisa snarled, still licking his lips at the thought of fresh meat. Kofi simply replied, "Sometimes, what seems small can be the most fulfilling." As the day wore on, Adisa grew hungrier and more desperate. He spotted a family of warthogs nearby, and determined not to return to the village empty-handed, he charged at them. But the warthogs scattered, leaving Adisa panting and exhausted. Kofi, meanwhile, had found a cool, shaded spot near a stream. He drank from the clear water and rested, content with his simple meal and the peace around him. Adisa, now frustrated beyond measure, stomped over to Kofi. "Old tortoise, you have caught nothing, and yet you rest as if you are satisfied. Where is the wisdom in that?" Adisa demanded, his voice filled with anger. Kofi looked up at the weary leopard and said, "I may not have caught what you sought, but I have found what I needed. Greed drives you to chase what is always out of reach, while contentment allows me to appreciate what I have." Adisa paused, his anger slowly fading as he realized the truth in Kofi's words. He was tired, hungry, and had nothing to show for all his efforts. Kofi, on the other hand, was calm, satisfied, and at peace. The sun began to set, casting a warm orange glow over the savanna. Adisa, humbled by the day's events, sat beside Kofi. "Perhaps you are right, old tortoise. I have spent my life chasing more, never satisfied with what I have." Kofi nodded slowly. "It is not wrong to desire, but when greed consumes you, it blinds you to the simple joys of life. Learn to value what you have, and you will find that you have more than enough." From that day on, Adisa changed his ways. He no longer hunted out of greed, but out of need, and he began to appreciate the small, simple things in life. The other animals in the village noticed the change in Adisa, and they grew less fearful of him, recognizing the wisdom he had gained. And as for Kofi, he continued to live his life as he always had, slow and steady, wise and content, teaching others that true happiness comes not from how much you have, from how much you appreciate you have. The story of the clever tortoise and the greedy leopard spread across the land, teaching all who heard it the importance of contentment, patience, and the dangers of greed. And so, the savanna thrived in peace, with the animals living in harmony, each appreciating the gifts they had been given,